We have arrived at the final arc of the original Dragon Ball. The Majin Buu Saga begins today with volume 36 of the Dragon Ball manga. This is the Mangalorian, Danny, Jordan. We're going to be going into this final arc of Dragon Ball, the grand finale. You know, Jordan, in the past I've said that, and I'm going to go way deeper into this when I do my canon video. The original manga is Toriyama's masterwork. Everything after it is like DLC, like Super, GT, the movies that came after. That is DLC because the story that he intended to tell comes to an end with the Majin Buu Saga. It was later that Toriyama came back to Dragon Ball, but during this time, when we get to the end of this arc, man, this ends an 11-year-long journey for Toriyama. This manga was published weekly for 11 years straight. That type of workload is insane to me.
Yeah, I mean, it is the actual ending. I mean, in fact, that's the entire reason that Toriyama wanted to go and do like a mid-quill for Super, is because he himself considered this the ending of Dragon Ball and always has. So yeah, this is definitely, we're getting close to the end.
Yeah. Now, we went over this last week, but during this time, the manga was very close to actually coming to an end. Because what happened was, and this was revealed recently in the Koso Koso podcast. And in the Koso Koso podcast, it was revealed that Toriyama, by the time he got to the end of Cell, was completely burnt out. He was just burnt to a crisp. Now, what happened was Toriyama was talked into continuing because of the fact that they gave him, the editorial staff gave Toriyama more free reign over what he could do. And so when we got to the reason why the Majin Buu Saga brings back sort of the comedy and kind of goes away from the more serious like Cell Saga is because Toriyama's editor, who at the time was Fuyuto Takeda, he let Toriyama do whatever he wanted, basically, to kind of make him happy and to
take the pressure off.
Take the pressure off.
Yeah, when you're dealing with an editorial department and, the Cells, okay, think about it this way. We all know that during the process of the Cell Saga, Toriyama had to make so many changes. I mean, we talked about it during the previous episodes. His editors were hounding him.
Toriyama was all over him.
Yeah. So think about, just take that into consideration, and then you'll understand why they felt the need to give him more leeway. Because if you were dealing with an editorial department like that, to where you constantly had to make changes in the middle of your story, it would become tiring. It would be really hard not to suffer from burnout, going through that. So yes,
and also the accumulation of years. It wasn't like he started this, the Cell Saga wasn't in like 86. This is year after year after year after year. The grind gets to you. Everyone's human.
Yeah, and Toriyama, there's things that he did with Dragon Ball that people appreciate in a way that there's hardcore fans that appreciate his touch and his approach to things, and those type of fans are going to like the Buu Saga more because it's more Toriyama-esque in the sense that it's less, the editors are literally less involved. So During the Dr. Slump era, Toriyama definitely had more free reign. Going into the original introduction of Dragon Ball, he had more free reign. But as Dragon Ball got more popular as a product, of course, the editorial department would be more involved because it becomes more important. It becomes more important to Jump. It becomes more important to everyone that the product is a success. Now, Toriyama's approach is loved and appreciated by a subset of people, but that does not mean that a Toriyama had free reign that everybody would universally appreciate his approach to Dragon Ball as a product. His editorial department was very important in that sense. Like they did kind of keep him in line with what they needed to accomplish to keep the series popular at that time.
Not just that, but let's be honest. If the Android saga ended with a fight with 19 and 20, that's super underwhelming compared to what they came up with Cell.
Exactly.
So the editorial department can improve Dragon Ball too. It's just that by this point, by the mid 90s, this dude was just tired, is what.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm trying to make, is that he was very, very exhausted. And like we've talked about, there were other projects he was working on. During this time in particular, he was working on Chrono Trigger, Dragon Quest VI. He was also working on a PS1 game called Tobal Number One that would come out, I think, 96, 97. He was just working his ass off and had to deliver a chapter every single week. And it's hard. And you can't just tell them, I'll be late, I can't do it.
No,
that's not how it works over there. No, you got to do your
whatever
obligations.
You have to do to get through it. That's exactly right.
Now, when it comes to the Majin Buu saga, we're hitting the reset button. Toriyama has not hit the reset button on Dragon Ball when you really think about it since the Dragon Ball Z era. Here's why I say that. The longest time skip we ever had in Dragon Ball was 5 years after the defeat of Piccolo from the arrival of Raditz. Now, between Cell and Buu, it's 7 years. So Toriyama has to reestablish the world and all the changes that have come about for the past 7 years. You know, I'm actually kind of surprised. Huh?
I love that. I was just appreciating Gohan's pose there in the manga.
Yeah, no, I was going to tell you, I'm actually surprised that they didn't just like rename the show something else at this point, because we never had a 7-year time skip until now. Like, this is the longest. And so, and there's a 10-year one coming up too, which is where Super and Daima would later sort of fit in there. But yeah, dude, Toriyama really had to hit the reset button here. No more Goku. The focus went to Gohan. As you can see right here, Master Roshi tells the reader that Gohan's going to be taken over as main character. That's what Toriyama had wanted, but it wouldn't be long before Goku would appear and, of course, become a force in the story.
Yeah, and, you know, you could definitely tell that despite the fact that Toriyama had free reign, he was still trying to think of a way to reach the Jump audience at that time, which were teenage boys. And so Gohan's experience, you know, growing up, going through school and all that stuff, although it seems not as Dragon Ball-esque in comparison to, you know, if you were somebody who just watched the Saiyan saga, the Frieza saga, the Android saga, and then you got to this, you'd be like, whoa, this is very different than everything else I've gotten so far. You know, this is like jarringly different in comparison to all that stuff.
I would even say it's different than even the old Dragon Ball stuff.
It is, for sure. And I think that that's partially because Toriyama, despite the fact that he had, you know, more freedom, he's still trying to figure out how to frame this in a way to appeal to his audience at that time. And I actually think that in that sense, he was very successful, although he did get bored with this very soon. I remember even whenever I was a kid and I saw like Gohan going to school, growing up, you know, having to deal with girls, you know, kind of being a weirdo and like, you know, the outcast amongst the people in his school. I related to so much of what I saw. And that, you know, that's as an American teenager, I can only imagine, you know, how the Japanese teens reacted to this at this time, because Dragon Ball was huge. So, you know, I do think that he was successful at that, but it's definitely jarringly different. And you can tell that Toriyama found out real quick that he was going to have to shift into some huge otherworldly threat and bring back Goku after a while, because this new formula that he's came up with only worked for that short span of time. So
And something else about the Buu saga is you can tell that Akira Toriyama had a lot of ideas, and he started chucking them at the manga, like stuff that, he was trying new things. It was very experimental. Now, a long time ago, I made a video on YouTube, and I think I was the first one to talk about this. And I talked about the real reason as to why Goku became a kid again. So if you notice in Dragon Ball, every time that a character grows up, Toriyama introduces a new kid protagonist every time. In the original Dragon Ball, when Goku grows up, he's got the arc against Piccolo Jr., and then we have Gohan as the new kid protagonist, and Goku is now an adult. Now we're at the part where Gohan is becoming an adult, and now we have Goten coming in and Kid Trunks being the next kid protagonist. And then for GT, Pan might have been the next kid protagonist, but when they turned Goku into a kid again, that was a decision that was made by Kozo Morishita, not Toriyama, but it's the same idea. We have their mentality, which I do not agree with, but it's their mentality, is we have to have a kid protagonist in there for the kids to be interested. Yeah. That's not true, but that's what they felt at the time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the thing is, look, I think you're right in terms of the old school fans, but in terms of bringing in new, younger fans, that's what they're thinking. They're thinking
that's what they're thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. They're thinking like,
But I think they're wrong. I think if it's good, it's good,
Yeah. I do think that you can make Dragon Ball universally appealing without the whole kiddie thing, for sure. But I do understand where they're coming from, in the sense that, just like how I related to Gohan and his experience with school, it's kind of cool to have a little brother character there that, little brothers can relate to and stuff like that. I think he's just trying to round out the series to make it appealing to as many people as he possibly can. I don't think it's necessarily as vague as just like appealing to a kid audience, particularly just a kid audience. It's like nuanced niche, subsets of people who can appreciate Dragon Ball for different ways, Yeah. I think he's thinking more universally. Yeah.
What I find funny is that at no point during the Cell Saga are there any clues or any hints to Chi-Chi being pregnant.
Yeah, that's true.
And please do not bring up Team 4-Star. I'm begging you. In the actual story, there's no hints at all. So you could tell that Goten was an idea he came up with probably sometime near the end of Cell to think of ways to continue. Justin Sullivan with the first super chat says, "What's Gohan doing a soldier salute for?" In Japan, that salute is also done for respect reasons, not just soldiers.
Yeah.
So we got to go ahead and dig into this manga, man. So let's go ahead and get started. Chapter 421. The Earth is now safe. It's been at peace for 7 years, but that doesn't mean there's still not bad guys doing bad things. And then what's going on is we start in Satan City, a city named after the guy who took credit for saving the world, Mr. Satan. And there's a robbery going on. Now we have our introduction, our first look at Gohan as a teenager. This is the real teen Gohan.
Yeah.
Teen Gohan is not Gohan in the Cell Saga, because when you're 9, 10, or 11 years old, you're not a teen. Teen, exactly. I don't fucking care what the video games say. They're wrong. Teen Gohan is this Gohan, and he's inherited the Kintone, and I like that. And this
would they made him Teen Gohan literally just because of how he looks. Like, I don't think there's any other reason that they call him that other than how he looks. That's literally
the video games are wrong, because they don't even, like, when they were translating the games, they didn't even do any research on them. Just like the Funimation dub, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, These
No, I know
people
exactly what you mean.
they did no research, and yet there were fans in those days who could have helped them. I was around, I wasn't known, but a bunch of Curtis Hoffman, Steve Simmons, and they just didn't care.
Yeah.
So Chi believes that Gohan needs to go to school to really learn more, to really, become a well-rounded student. Gohan lands in the city. He's late. But he ends up running into the bank robbery.
Yeah,
So
and seeing a Dragon Ball style character in a superhero style scenario, I think is very underrated.
Western superhero style.
Yeah. Like because I understand exactly what Toriyama was thinking here. You know what I mean? Like we've seen Dragon Ball have its own style in terms of like how it approaches villains and threats and stuff like that. But seeing, a cool character like Gohan, in his prime or in his teenage years, getting to play superhero in the same way that we get to see all our favorite characters in the West do, in comics, is just really cool. It's just a really cool, it's a really awesome approach that Toriyama took, and I think that it's part of the reason that again, this is universally appealing in some sense.
I like how the entire reason for Gohan to activate Super Saiyan is just so that people will think that the hero had golden hair, so they wouldn't get him mixed up with the hero. Oh no,
Yep.
that can't be him because he doesn't have the golden hair.
Yeah.
And so which is just so funny because we literally saw golden haired characters in the Cell Saga, which the first part of it was broadcast. The first part of the Cell games was broadcast, but the world doesn't remember those things. So here we have Gohan in his gold hair. He decides to step in and help out the cops just because he's a good guy. The reason as to why the superhero shit works for Gohan better than for Goku is a reflection of their characters.
Yeah.
Gohan has a stronger bond with humanity, with life. He's not like Goku, who's a martial artist who's seeking the biggest challenges. He'd prefer if everything was peaceful. Goku's the kind of guy who would find peace not necessarily boring, but he gets excited when somebody bad shows up. Gohan just wants nobody else to ever show up
peace.
that's bad. Yeah, and I find them interesting.
Yeah, if I was gonna say like what we've talked about this, we should plug our video. We did a video about this comparing Gohan and Goku
as main characters.
Yeah, you should go check that out. But also, I think if I was going to define like the main difference between the two characters, like Goku is literally like martial arts incarnate. Like he's almost like just a caricature of the idea of martial arts. Like he's literally just a character who's catered to the stereotypical martial artist, but exaggerated to the absolute max. Whereas like Gohan, I would say that he is just like, justice and peace and like all of the things that Goku stands for sometimes incarnate. You know what I mean? Like all of the good things that Goku stands for sometimes, not on purpose, but whenever he feels the urge to like help people or see justice done or, see peace, I think Gohan is a reflection of that part of Goku's personality exaggerated. So that's kind of what defines the two characters. It's like that, he does end up gaining that later on in Super, the whole martial arts mentality, but right here he just doesn't have that at all, and that really separates the two characters for sure.
And I like that. I like that. I think Toriyama had challenges internally with how to write Gohan, which we're going to talk about as we go through the Buu arc, because Gohan's character in the Buu arc, you can tell like he was all over the place with writing Gohan, and I think that became an issue. Xavier says Gohan is a nerd. Of course, he's into superheroes. Yeah, I mean, hell, the superhero movie and the superhero arc in the manga with Clean God and all that, like they're all nerds. Goku and Vegeta are the other ones that aren't nerds. They're just old curmudgeons. But The young folks are nerds. So Gohan is in here. So they try to shoot him with bullets. It doesn't do anything. You know, just it's Gohan, bro. It's just Gohan. He's a meta human, for lack of a better term. He's not human. He's a meta human, and nobody can stop him. And then
Yeah.
we have the introduction of Videl. Now, at this point, they haven't established Videl yet, but Videl ends up being Mr. Satan's daughter. Now, one of the things that we do not know is exactly when Toriyama decided that this would be Gohan's love interest, because I feel like it had to be relatively early, maybe even around this time.
Or maybe during conception as a character, there's I think he had a little bit of time in comparison to flesh this arc out. So, there's no
Yeah.
telling.
Yeah, I mean, and they discussed the gold hair thing, and and then now she's like, that person goes to my school with gold hair. So now she's determined to find this guy at Orange Star High School. So here we have the slice of life portion of this story. Gohan in high school trying to adjust, Videl there trying to find the Golden Warrior. Now, I'm going to just say this. When I was younger, when I was first getting into Dragon Ball Z, and when I was first watching these episodes, I did not like them. The anime version of this arc is much longer. It's actually 7 full episodes of this before we get to the tournament with episode 208. So, it's 8 episodes. It's episode 200 to 207. So, in the manga, there's much less of it. Now, we'll get to that in a minute, but I did not like the Great Saiyaman stuff when I first got into it. But when I got older, that's when I really appreciated both the chapters and the episodes. And I don't know why that is. I just felt like
Well, I mean,
that.
you're coming off of the Cell Saga into this. Like I said, it's jarring. It to me, it's just as jarring as coming from the end of the Buu Saga to the beginning of the Super anime. It's a completely different feel. You go from Goku. Just to reinforce this idea, you go from Gohan saving the planet from Cell using a Kamehameha, super high stakes battle with like death and brutality and all this.
Then he hits the reset button.
Yeah, and then it goes all but back to this, and then the same thing happens with Super. At the end of Super, Majin Buu's just killing everybody. Goku, he launches a spirit bomb at he like mass destruction and brutality everywhere. And then fast forward to the beginning of Super. What's the first episode of the Super anime about? It's literally about Goten and Trunks trying to find water for Videl as a marriage gift.
But remember, we had Battle of Gods first, so that was kind of
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Of
primer.
course. I'm just saying in terms of like anime chronology, this happens over and over again where Dragon Ball seems like one thing at its peak and it's a completely different thing at the start, and it just happens over and over again.
But here's my point. I didn't like it at first, but then when I got older, I learned to like it more.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure why that is. Like, I'm not sure why I wound up appreciating it more. I guess maybe because it's the only, you know what it is? It's the only part of Dragon Ball that feels episodic. And while I prefer serialized storytelling to episodic, it's the only time that it feels like a Saturday morning, like it really feels like a Saturday morning cartoon. Like, it doesn't even feel Japanese. And I think there's a weird comfort in that. But it was something that happened that I learned to love later in life. But whenever I see someone say, "Oh, I don't like the Sandman stuff, it's boring," I'm always like, well, A, you're either one of these fucking ADD kids, or B, wait a few more years and see how you feel about it, because you might change your mind.
Yeah.
Did you also change your mind when it came to this stuff?
Well, like I said, I was kind of associating with Gohan at this time, during the time that I was, because like I was the new kid in school. I was I was the goofball, like I was shy, I was nervous. So like I related to this situation so much that even though it didn't feel like it did feel like a new section of Dragon Ball, that like it felt like new territory, like a new show almost. Even though it did feel like that, it came at a time in my life where it was very relatable. So I think that kind of helped me digest it.
Videl is revealed to be Mr. Satan's daughter here. Now, we know what ends up happening with Videl and Gohan. And I feel like this whole thing is okay. Mr. Satan took credit for Gohan's work, so Gohan's just going to take his daughter. That's a fair trade, right?
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't even try. That's the thing. Like he doesn't have to do
He
anything.
does not
That's the thing.
try. You're
Yeah,
right.
and that's the thing. Like in terms of like finding somebody that's like a long-term relationship, most of the time you shouldn't have to try. Like most of the time, like you should just be appealing on your own. Like this situation that you see play out with Gohan, this is the ideal situation. Keep your cool. You know what I mean? Don't try too hard. Just be the best dude you can possibly be. Like Gohan's like he's teaching. Toriyama's not just teaching you about martial arts anymore. I'll just put it that way.
In a way, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Air Dog, what happened to Videl's mother? And then Benjamin's like, oh, that's a great question. Videl's mother died of an illness when she was very young. Toriyama talked about this in an interview. I'm not sure if I've done a video on it. I may have. It may be a short, but that is what happened to Videl's mother.
Yeah, and I can't remember her name, but I do know that she's named after an angel. I do know that because it was supposed to be like a parallel to Mr. Satan's name.
So I forgot her name too, but I know that's what happened, that she died when Videl was young. Yeah. All right, chapter 422, Gohan very tired. This is continuing more of the slice of life stuff. I really like what they did in the anime too with the baseball and stuff like that. Like I like that because it's just the way they did it, I think, was fun, felt more organic. The whole story here is Videl trying to put the pieces together.
Yeah.
I don't think it's him, but long ago when Dad was fighting Cell, I remember seeing someone in the video transforming and his hair turned golden. Dad said it was a trick, but see, she's the only smart one. She's the only smart human being in this entire fucking city, bro. Nobody else can figure this out.
Well, nobody else really cares, actually.
Wait, their hair turned gold. Like she's figuring it out.
The Godzilla effect. It's like, there's something about Japanese entertainment where the most of the civilian population just does not give a shit. You know what I mean? They're just like, trying to get about their lives.
Yeah. Right. Now we have these characters of Sharpener and Eraser. Do I have to explain what the pun is? I think you're smart enough to figure that out. Yeah. They're just there as like window dressing for this arc. They're really not, they don't really do anything in the series except just that. So that's it. So this is the baseball stuff. And this is where people start to notice, because he's being told he has to act like a normal teenager. But this is where people start to notice that Gohan might not be a regular teenager. Now, the reason as to why I really like this is because Toriyama's never done anything like this before, at least not in Dragon Ball. He's done it with Slump, but not with Dragon Ball. In early Dragon Ball, Goku was a mountain boy, never really went to the city. Here we have a fish out of water story that's similar, but also has the same kind of comedic beats, which is Gohan's trying to not reveal who he is, but because he's Gohan, he has no choice. And I do want to commend Videl, pigtailed Videl with the hat.
Coach Freddie Mercury. That's an awesome comment. I have to acknowledge
it does kind of like Freddie Mercury or Don Fry. Yeah. No, Videl with the pigtails and the hair, that's tippy top right there. And then Gohan, of course, tries to catch the ball. And again, they can't stop themselves from being who they are. And everybody's all shocked. And of course, once again, the only smart one putting the pieces together is Videl. And you're right. Nobody cares. Like, none of these people care as much. But I just know if I saw some dude catch the ball like that, I would instantly be like, yeah, there's something about him.
Yeah,
He's not like us, bro. Like that fucking Kendrick Lamar song. He's not like us. And yeah, and Gohan doesn't even know because Gohan was told, act like a normal teenager.
But what does he know about being a normal teenager? Yeah, exactly. He has no clue.
He has no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he could watch TV.
Yeah.
I mean, you know. And then he's realizing, like, oh, did I throw it too hard? Like, you know, did I not control that? Gohan's up at bat. I love this art. I love, like, we're going through this somewhat quickly, but I love it. And Sharpner's over here, like, you know, let's see if you can catch this, or you can hit this, yeah, okay. He's not just a country boy. He throws a fastball and it hits Gohan right in the face.
Yeah.
See, that's Toriyama back to his roots.
Yeah.
That's the real Toriyama. That's why when Daima had brought in a lot of that comedy early on, once again, it becomes a situation where I'm like, did you guys not read? Oh, that's right. You've only seen Dragon Ball Z or played the video games. That's right. You've never actually read Toriyama's works.
Yeah.
He likes to do comedy, bro. It's what he's good at. So Gohan gets hit right in the face, which would be an instant CTE situation. But he's
perfectly fine. Yeah.
He's perfectly fine. And he gets to walk. So that's good. And everyone freaks out, including her. So this is all like social stuff about whether or not Gohan's going to join a club. This is now Videl sneaking around trying to figure out. She's very intrigued at Gohan. Now, I'm not saying that she's already sexually attracted to him, but she's taking a lot of interest in this guy who she just met. She's like almost obsessing. And you know what I think? I think she subconsciously knows that her father's a fraud. I think she admits it later and wants to know the real guys that beat Cell.
I think that's part of it, but I also think that what initially draws her interest is the fact that somebody was fighting crime.
Well,
I think that you're right. I think that she does like start to get it, like especially when she starts talking about the people's hair turning blonde. That's when the light bulb really starts going off in her head. Like, oh snap! Like this is connected to my personal history, my personal past. You know, like But I think prior to that, what fascinated her was that somebody else was out there fighting crime, and I think that's cool.
Joshua says Gohan should be called the Cell Slayer. Well, he's about to become the Videl Slayer in a few days, bro, if this keeps up. So now he gets on a cloud going home. And now Gohan, basically what's happening here is he's like, the golden-haired hero is not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough. I need something else.
Yeah, especially since he's wearing his school outfit too. I love how they immediately call him out on that too. It's like, yeah, changing your hair didn't help much, bro, if you're wearing your school badge. You know.
So, chapter 423, Birth of a New Hero. This is where Gohan goes to Bulma. And again, like I said, a lot of these chapters are Toriyama reintroducing us to how the world was 7 years after Cell. So he's got to tell us like what's changed. You know, not much has changed when it comes to Bulma. She smokes now, which is disgusting, but it's just basically to show like, you know, like reintroduce us to these characters.
Yeah, yeah. And you could
Just
tell that Toriyama was trying to make Bulma seem aged here, but that didn't last for very long.
no, Super sure as hell flipped that.
Yeah.
Joshua says Videl Slayer more like Videl Smasher. Yes, all of that and more. All of that and more. So this is where Gohan asks, he basically, long story short, he wants her to create a costume for him. As simple as that. Here we have our introduction to Kid Trunks for the first time. He is no longer just a baby. He's 8 years old. And now we have Vegeta. And this is our first look at Vegeta 7 years later. Now, Vegeta did say that he will never fight again. He did say that. However, that doesn't mean he's not going to train. And during the 7 years, he did train. And we'll talk more about that in the next few streams because we'll go into that more when we get to the actual Vegeta thing. But I just love that Vegeta's wearing civilian clothing now.
Yeah, he's just chilling. Yeah.
He's pretty much become domesticated.
He's domesticated. Yep.
Yep. He's domesticated, bro. He's domesticated. And it says here, maybe the world is peaceful now, but if you overlook your training, you'll get rusty. So even Vegeta's telling him, like, don't let yourself go, which Gohan's learned that lesson far too many times.
Yeah.
So here is the introduction of Saiyaman. All of the superhero stuff that was coming out the last couple of years, this is kind of where it was all rooted. Obviously the costume looks ridiculous. It's like a mix of like Kamen Rider with all kinds of other like Japanese toku heroes.
Yeah.
But Gohan thinks it's cool. And Trunks says it's not his style, but he might change his mind later on. So now at this point, Gohan's testing out the Transformer. He can push a button and transform like a Power Ranger, like a Super Sentai hero. And now he doesn't even need to use the cloud, and he can actually fly because no one will recognize him.
Yeah, nobody will, yeah, exactly. Yeah, he can get more comfortable.
And I love that he goes right into town looking to like fight crime.
Yeah.
Like right into it, you know?
Yeah, of course. I mean, he's a superhero. He's literally getting to live the dream that like every kid at that age it wants to live. Like he gets to be a superhero. Yeah, of course.
I am the keeper of law and order, friend of justice. I am the great Saiyaman. This is all of this posing and all that is literally Toriyama doing a parody of Super Sentai, of Toku heroes. Kamen Rider, Ultraman, whenever Sailor Moon in and of itself was a parody as well, where they do the wacky, you know, like, and the Ginyu Force was like an evil version. We're here to protect justice. We are like, that's all with the crazy hand movements. That's all Japanese superheroes. That's all it is. So when people say shit like Gohan was influenced by Ginyu, I don't think so. I think it's just that Toriyama was borrowing from the same thing twice.
Well, particularly Kamen Rider Black is where a lot of these like stereotypical poses come from that he uses, because that show was like over the top with reusing poses from other Sentai shows. So
well,
like
they all used it.
Yeah. I'm just saying that this one in particular, like the few poses that he strikes here particularly are from Kamen Rider Black. Okay, so can you pull up the thing that I sent you before the stream so I can talk about that a little bit?
That was here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I just noticed it. Yeah. Okay. This right here.
Yeah. Okay, so
Okay.
in the comic that I'm writing, okay, so just to give you guys some, I just want to promote the comic for a minute. There's this kid called Devil Kid, okay, from Cashman. And he's essentially like an evil version of Gohan that Toriyama created like way before Gohan. And so this comic that I'm writing is about that character. And that character ends up getting humiliated by Cashman as a child, and he ends up like in my comic he like vows revenge against Cashman, and that's essentially what the story is about. It's about like an evil Gohan per se.
No,
So
the Ginyu Force did not influence Gohan. Go ahead.
this scene right here, just to give you guys like a preview of what's in the comic, Devil Kid is the leader of a gang, and part of the gang looks just like the gang that Great Saiyaman is fighting here. And me and Griffin did this double page spread where the cops are making fun of Keiko Daimon's name because it is kind of a silly name, kind of like Great Saiyaman. And the criminals are the ones who are like, "Oh, you got an awesome name, boss!" Like, we love it, So I just wanted to point out this like parallel scene that like me and Griffin did in our comic. I also wanted to point out that this was another really creative thing. If you look there at the bottom of the panel, whenever Great Saiyaman is having the criminals run away, he's giving them the peace sign. But we have Keiko Daimon flipping off the cops as they run away, like as like a parallel to that. So I just wanted to point that out. Like he's got his middle finger up as the
No,
cops.
I mean it's like a perfect parody.
Yeah, it's a perfect parallel. Yeah,
Now,
but I just wanted to point that
you
out.
sent me something else. Is that for now or for later?
It's just an image of Devil Kid, so that way people can see that he's like an evil Gohan. That's what I sent you. I just sent you like an image of the character in case people wanted to see like the character that the comic is based on. He doesn't have a name; they just call him Devil Kid, but he's literally like an evil Gohan. And he's actually, if you want my opinion on the character, I think that he's based on Bruce Lee because Bruce Lee as a kid had a gang. Like he literally
This
had
image
like
right here.
yeah. So you see at the top there that character that's right next to Cashman. That's Devil Kid, and he's essentially like an evil version of Gohan that Toriyama created in like a different.
It literally looks just like Gohan with that damn hair.
Yeah, but he's the leader of a gang called the Devil Kids, which apparently are the strongest kindergartners on planet Earth. Don't ask me why that's a thing.
Wacky. That's wacky.
But yeah. But anyway, yeah, so that's who the comic's about. It's like a sequel to the interaction here between Cashman and Devil Kid. Cashman completely humiliates Devil Kid. And so it's kind of playing on, it's kind of the same thing Goku does with his enemies, where like he humiliates them and then they cause them to train and come back and get stronger and like try to get the revenge. That's what this comic's about. I just wanted to like plug the comic because we were at this scene and I wanted to point out the parallel between those two scenes because I figured people would appreciate it.
When you say plug the comic, where can they read it?
I'm going to put a free link to it on my Twitter account here in the next few days when it's finished. Our goal is to have it done by the 10th. So try to be watching my Twitter from now till the 10th. So.
Okay. Well, there you go. Maybe next stream we'll actually have a link and everything,
Yeah.
That would make things easier. Yeah, it just flew by the fact that we got to this scene so fast, where they're clowning on his
name.
His costume.
Yeah. It is a silly name.
Yeah, 424. So now Toriyama is introducing Goten, and Goten looks just like Goku. Now, do you think, because I don't think he's ever commented on this, do you think that at this time, when he was writing chapter 424, that he actually thought that there wouldn't even be a Goku in this arc, and that Goten would be the Goku of the arc, and that he wasn't going to bring Goku back at all?
I think that he's doing the same thing that he's been doing for years and that his editors have encouraged him to do for years, where he's just setting up future content. So even if he didn't intend, to me, it doesn't really matter whether he intended to bring Goku back at this time. Goten is future content. As a character, he just offers content overall. So I think that he's thinking that way. He's just kind of thinking like promotionally and, from a marketing standpoint, how cool it is to have like a new little mini Goku, But it's possible that he wasn't intending on bringing Goku back at this point. It's definitely possible.
This young boy who looks exactly like Goku is Goten, Gohan's little brother. He was conceived during the time before the Cell Games. Yes. Now, he was not conceived during the 9-year break. People seem to think he was. He was not. Team 4-Star said he was. He was not. I have a video on my channel that I put out years ago with evidence that Goku nutted inside of Chi-Chi prior to that 9-day. It was not during the 9 days. We have evidence that prove it. We literally have. I did a whole video on it. I think it's called. Did I call it Goten's Conception? I'm trying to remember the name so it's easy to find. Let me see if I can real quick because I gotta. People are gonna
do your thing. Hell yeah.
No, people are gonna want to see that video.
Somebody's asking for actual video proof.
Yeah, what
like you went, like you went and recorded Goku, and
but I already fucking.
That's not what I mean. They're being dirty.
Where is this video? Like I remember the thumbnail, but I've done a lot of videos with Goten's name in them, especially during the like the superhero stuff because they put a refocus on that character. Prior to that, it would have been a different story. It was a quickie. It was in the Geekdom Quickies. Excuse me. In the Geekdom Quickies section. I just don't remember if I think it was called The Truth About Goten's Birth. Yes, here we go. There's the video. There it is right there on the screen. That video right there. When did Chi-Chi get pregnant with Goten in Dragon Ball Z? That video right there from 8 years ago will prove to you that it wasn't during the 9 days. It could not have been because of the birth date of when Goten was born. So it's not. The video is already there. So Great Saiyaman, now after resolving that issue, back to school again, back to Videl obviously being called in to help. Gohan is just like, I guess, following her lead when it comes to the crime fighting stuff. And it's just funny because Gohan realizes that unlike Mr. Satan, Videl actually is brave, courageous, and a fighter. And that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that is cool. The fact that the cops call her says a lot.
But it's just funny because of how much of a fraud Mr. Satan is.
Yeah.
So Gohan is right behind her. Saiyaman time. He's going to go show up. He's going to use his power. These guys have a fucking rocket launcher during this car chase. I mean, this is just fun stuff, bro. We haven't seen Toriyama do this kind of stuff at this point for years. Like car chases and weapons. Like Dragon Ball had gone in such a sci-fi direction that we didn't get this kind of stuff for a really long time.
Yeah. This is literally like reminding me of the original Dragon Ball, like the OG stuff.
Well, for me, it's like Pola and Royd or Pink or one of those other.
Well, the whole like vehicles getting blown up and like criminal, like that kind of stuff. Like it's just,
she's got her handcuffs. She's basically one of the cops, except stronger. So there's this conflict. We're not going to go too deep into it because it's just a very basic thing. The point is that Gohan senses her ki, but she's an ass kicker. And this is the first time we're actually seeing, yes, Dub and Peter. Good call. Good call. This is the first time we're actually seeing Videl in action, and she's great.
Yeah, she's kicking ass.
She's She's phenomenal.
Videl, or she's kicking Nappa with an eye patch's ass.
Yes, yeah, basically. He's got those big ass arms, and it literally means nothing because she's knocking him on his ass, bro. And look at, I'm surprised she can defend herself pretty well, even better than her dad. Like, he knows what's up. What do you think about the choice of Videl being strong and her dad being a fraud? That's like that. What's that word that the almost like a misdirect Toriyama, like whenever he makes like the final forms smaller, like he always does what you don't expect.
Yeah, I think that's definitely what he was thinking, but I also think that like her being raised as a martial artist also has a big impact on that. So
She surpassed Satan though.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
completely. Saiyaman comes to save her. She has no idea what to make of it. 425 exposed.
Oh yeah, Gohan breaks the third or the fourth wall right there.
Where?
That's a very rare fourth wall break. Go to the right and go to the bottom. Yeah.
Oh, this, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I believe in the original Shonen Jump run, he said you'll find out next week, and they changed it. Yeah, I remember, because that's like one of those Dragon Ball trivia notes that like, hey, here's a piece of Dragon Ball trivia. Did you know that so and so said this, but it was changed later? Like that type of shit. So yeah. All right, more of the Gohan stuff. Introducing himself as a hero, doing the wacky poses. This whole splash, these 2 pages, is just Gohan doing wacky poses.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And Videl not knowing what to make of it. Gohan's nothing will hurt him. She's realizing that he can fly. He's a superhero. He is a superhero. You know, can't you tell me who you really are? Sorry, I can't do that. Of course not. Come on. So, Gohan, how did you get out of the classroom? Easy. I said I was going to the bathroom. Therefore, I must return as soon as possible. I knew it.
She got it immediately. I love that too. She literally has him pegged like immediately. It's hilarious.
It's actually funnier in the manga than in the anime.
Yeah.
Because it's the very next like panel. And he says, how stupid am I?
Yeah.
That's a Graham move right there, bro. That's something Graham would do. How did you figure it out? Your voice. Oh, yeah. And he goes, I'm really an idiot. And then he just decides to unmask in front of her. Why did you wear such a strange costume? So I can live a normal life. I thought it would be preferable to hide my true identity from others. This right here is Toriyama completely borrowing from the West.
Yeah.
Western superheroes.
That last one shot that Toyotaro did with the clean god stuff, he reiterates that the reason superheroes keep their identity hidden is because it causes danger, to not only them but to their families to run around just flaunting their identity around. So yeah, that's it's a very common superhero plot point.
Killmonger doesn't seem to understand. I'm just going to make it very simple for you, Killmonger. What do you think is going to happen if everybody knows that Gohan is Great Saiyaman and he decides to go to the mall one day and have some Chinese food there at the mall, bro? You think people are going to leave him alone, or are they going to come up to him and bother him?
In fact, why did literally everything in the last arc happen the way that it happened the way it did? Because Goku's identity was a danger to him whenever he attacked the Red Ribbon Army. They were like, oh, we know who this guy is. It's Goku. Like this is the target that we're going to chase for the rest of the Red Ribbon Army's existence. We're going to do everything we can to take down Goku. You know what I mean? So like, not only that, But literally later on in the arc, because Gohan defeated Cell without any disguise, he becomes the target of Bibbidi, or he becomes the target of Bobbidi and Dabura, and because of his energy and how powerful he is. So yeah, it's something that they
It's
reinforce.
pretty simple to figure out. Gohan wants to live a regular life among the people. Goku doesn't give a shit. He's not that smart when it comes to that. He just wants to fish and just chill and not give a fuck. Gohan wants to actually live like a person. So there you go. All right. And then, aren't you that golden hair guy too? No, I'm not. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Like she's really, I mean, come on. Okay, so this is the first mention of the next tournament. So are you going to participate in the Budokai tournament? The Budokai? You don't know? It's a competition where the strongest martial artists in the world gather to determine who's the strongest. This is the first Budokai that we've seen since the 23rd. And no, I'm not counting the Cell games. We're talking about actual official tournaments. This is the first one. This is the 25th Tenkaiichi Budokai. That's what this is. The 24th Tenkaiichi Budokai took place off screen, and that's the one that Mr. Satan won. And that one had a bunch of weak regular people in it because all the strong characters were afraid to show up because of Piccolo targeting them in the 23rd tournament. So instead, they sat that one out. That's why Mr. Satan won the 24th tournament.
Great.
I should probably do a video on that, shouldn't I?
Yeah, people can say what they want about Toriyama forgetting his own lore. That's a genius. That's really implementing your own lore in a really creative and
Killmonger says Gohan is smart but dumb around girls. Brother, that's how many people in the real world fit that description?
True that.
That might be the most realistic thing about Gohan. That might be the most realistic thing. Smart guy, dumb around girls. So this, of course, and now here is something else that I've talked about. Strange, isn't it? He has the same family name as you. Perhaps Son Goku, this is supposed to be Son Goku, is your father, am I right? So Videl herself says that most people do not have surnames in the world. That means they don't have last names, which is why Bulma's last name is not Briefs. Trunks' last name is not Briefs. The only person whose name is Briefs is Dr. Brief, her father, and that's his first name. Yeah. I did a whole video about that called Bulma's last name is not Brief, because thank the dub again for trying to make it seem like that's her last name. Thank you, English dub. Keep changing shit and confusing the fans. But hey, I make money off of it, so it's all good. Justin says, what's your favorite Tenkaiichi Budokai in the Dragon Ball franchise? I don't know, Justin. The fact that I've said that my favorite arc is the 23rd tournament, I wonder what's my favorite tournament, bro. I wonder.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's my favorite.
I've always thought that like all of the like satanic wordplay in this arc with like Mr. Satan, Videl, Satan City, Dabura popping up later. I always thought all of that was because Gohan's based on a demon character. Like Goku and Gohan are both based on a character who is in fact of a demon. But it might also have something to do with Devil Kid now that I'm thinking about it, because like Devil Kid is also kind of like he's kind of a prototype of Gohan. So that might be like Toriyama also like continuing that trend as well.
Right. So now the tournament is on, and now Toriyama has finally figured where the story's going to go next. I want to point this out to you guys. There was new information revealed in the Koso Koso podcast about Toriyama during this time. We already talked about the fact that he was burnt out and that his editor, Fuyuto Takeda, let him do whatever he wanted and gave him more free reign. Something else is that the reason as to why Toriyama jumps from Saiyaman, the hero, and Videl into a Tenkaiichi tournament is because he got bored. Literally, Futora was like, yeah, he got tired of writing these, fun superhero stories. He had fun for a while, but then he's like, let's do something else. And that's why the Buu Saga can sometimes be so jarring, because Toriyama just gets bored. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the reason we went from Gotenks to Ultimate Gohan to Vegeta to all is because Toriyama just got bored. The reason as to why Majin Buu had so many different forms is Toriyama getting bored. It feels that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely creative whenever he's like he's basically putting himself in the perspective of the reader, and I think that's a smart approach.
But he's also like a little kid. Like,
Yeah,
Toriyama is literally like a little kid. The motherfucker, this motherfucker's hobbies include going to see movies, playing video games, playing with model cars at home. Those are his fucking hobbies. He doesn't go to the opera. He doesn't fucking go to dinner parties. He likes to fucking play. In fact, what blows my mind about Toriyama is he plays video games that he worked on.
yeah.
There's a picture of him with Sasuke, his son, and he's holding the controller playing Dragon Quest 3. He's like, I'm having a good time playing this game. Like, he obviously he didn't program the game. He drew the characters, but still, like, he will often comment like, oh, I got to the end of Dragon Quest 2, but I couldn't finish it because I had a toothache. Like, this guy's a fucking little kid, bro. And I don't think people realize that about him. Like, he's always had a youthful spirit. So when you see like, Goku becoming a kid again in Daima, that's just Toriyama being Toriyama. Obviously, it wasn't originally his idea, but
Yeah.
So, anyways, moving on. Now, what's going on is Gohan is telling other people about the tournament. Huh?
That just looks just like the Akira motorcycle.
Yes. Holy shit, you're right. Holy shit. I never noticed that till today.
Yeah.
I never noticed that till today. Jordan is right. That is the motorcycle from Akira. That's, And look at Trunks over here fucking. Yeah.
I love Kid Trunks personally. Like, he's one of my favorite characters. I think he's awesome.
He can be annoying, but he's very funny.
Yeah.
I find him funny.
Yeah.
And actually, the fact that he's not like Future Trunks makes him more funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad they're not the same. So
the fact that he's like, because okay, what's funny about Vegeta being married to Bulma is that Vegeta was already a prince, so he's already kind of a spoiled brat, and then his wife like continues to spoil him. So like Trunks is just like an extension of that, and it's funny. It makes it that much funnier.
One of the things I like, and it's not in the manga, but if you watch Dragon Ball Z movie 13, which is Dragon Fist Explosion, aka Wrath of the Dragon, I really like how in that movie they explore the fact that Trunks doesn't have a big brother like Goten, and Tapion becomes Trunks' big brother. For a brief time, I would have loved it if they would have put that story into the manga, because that right there is like really good script writing. Like, Trunks sort of being a little envious. Yeah, he's richer. He has more toys, but he only plays with Goten. But if he had an older brother, he would have someone else to play with. And I really like how Cappy becomes his older brother temporarily. Go back and watch that movie again in Japanese. This is to the chat, and you'll pick up on that, and you'll really like, you'll appreciate it more. Yeah. So this is the new look for Saiyaman, so he can fight in the tournament without having that big bulky helmet. And then Vegeta finds out about the tournament, and he has that look on his face.
Yeah, he's a liar is what he is. He's a big fat liar.
Well, which
never gonna fight again, my ass.
Yeah.
First tournament, he's like, yeah, bro, I'm all in.
Well, he intended to never fight again, but he changed his mind. Last time there was a huge gap between us, but what about now? While you were living the easy life, I've been training. See, Vegeta wants to test himself against Gohan. Yeah. I love Vegeta in this part of the story because he's not
the martial artist in him starting to come out.
And he's not evil anymore. He does do an evil thing when we get to the Majin. We'll get there. But he's not really evil anymore.
He still has his evil nature, but he tames his evil nature with martial arts, and you're seeing the fruits of that right here more than you ever have. So
yeah, he doesn't have the full turn until at near the end of the series. Well, not near the end, but the Buu thing. We'll get to it. We will get there because I'm sure we'll have a lot to discuss when we get to the Majin Vegeta.
Oh yeah, fight. For sure.
Yeah, that's gonna take up some time. So that's gonna be an extra long stream possibly. So right here, Bulma says training is the only thing he's done for the last 7 years. Now, does that does not include him going in the bathtub with her that we found out from Daima, and that is canon, by the way. Vegeta taking baths with Bulma's canon. All right, fuck you. Your father was the same way. I wonder if all Saiyans are like that. And then Trunks is, look at Trunks. What a mark. You're going to fight?
Yeah, he's like, hell yeah, dude.
But he's
You'd
never
seen my dad kick some ass.
He's never seen Vegeta fight.
Yeah.
He's never seen Vegeta fight before. So it's almost like he's only heard the stories. You know, so that's cool.
I'm sure.
Imagine if Vegeta was your dad and you get to see him fight for the
fight
Bruce
for real. Yeah, I'm sure he's seen Vegeta train. You know, but yeah, fight for real.
Now,
yeah,
fight somebody else though.
Yeah,
like that. This part is so wholesome. Like this is like the closest you're gonna get to like evil Vegeta, who's not really evil, also being wholesome. This whole family.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, they've trained and stuff, but yeah, getting to see your dad, you know, kick some ass would be cool for sure.
And then all of a sudden, I'm going to. A voice has just called out to them. Father? Dad, is that you, Kakarot? Yes, it's me. Long time no see. How... I don't know what to think about this, man, because we have not seen this motherfucker in several chapters.
Yeah.
Not at all.
And then the second the tournament's mentioned, he's like, oh, okay, yeah.
I'm going to.
Yeah. Classic Goku. Classic Goku.
But it's just funny because, like you just like I wonder I wish Toriyama was still alive, because this would be a good question to ask him, like, were you holding off on this? Were you playing around with it? Like, how did it feel to actually draw Goku again after what, over a month of not drawing a Goku picture?
Yeah, be wild.
You understand something? Akira Toriyama drew Son Goku on a piece of paper thousands of times in his life for 11 straight years, and then for a month and a week, a month and a half, let's say, no Goku, and then he draws him again.
Yeah, he's like his muscle memory kicked in, bro.
But it's just cool. Like, it's cool to think about like what the author was thinking.
Yeah.
We don't know, but you know, I keep moving.
Well, I think he was probably thinking that Goku coming back specifically for the tournament was the most Goku thing ever. You know, that's probably what he's like. Well, if I'm going to set up a tournament, then Goku's got to be there. You know, that type of thing.
Absolutely. I asked Baba to take me there for my one granted day, the day of the Budokai. He's talking about the one day back on Earth. So this is a story thread that goes all the way back to the Baba arc of Dragon Ball.
And if you didn't read Dragon Ball, you would not catch on to it at all, and you would miss out on a really cool little lore drop.
Yeah, Son Gohan came back to life for one day, and now Goku's using the same. Now, the one day coming back to life thing, I haven't done a video on this, but I will tell you this here on the Mangalorian. Not anybody can do that. Like, Frieza wouldn't be allowed to do that, even though he was allowed for the Tournament of Power because Goku and Beerus and Whis put in a good word for him. But, like, the ability to come back for a day is only given to special people. Gohan is a benevolent warrior man, made friends with Baba, and also trained Baba's brother, Roshi. So that nepotism obviously led him back. Goku, of course, you know, being the hero of saving Earth multiple times, he gets special treatment. But not everybody gets one day back. So I want to make that clear. Just because you die does not mean you're guaranteed your one day back. You have to be somebody special like Goku and Gohan were.
Yeah.
Son Gohan, the grandpa. So now, I really want to get into this. Vegeta says, I'll be waiting. Be ready. I've become pretty strong. Me too. Let's all meet at the Budokai. So this moment right here, I want y'all to listen to what I'm telling you. If you have not watched my video called Majin Vegeta, A Deeper Look, cue that up for after the stream. Right?
Yeah.
The entire Majin Vegeta choice that was made is all based on this moment right here. Because Vegeta has wanted to test himself against Goku and Gohan, but really Goku, because that's the guy that he considers his measuring stick. For 7 years, he never thought he would ever have a chance to fight Kakarot again. And now that Kakarot's coming back for the one day, Vegeta, I'm willing to bet that Vegeta's erection right now is harder.
Oh, yeah, dude. He's fucking excited as hell. Yeah,
bro, he took a bucket of Viagra. He's probably harder now than he was in the bathtub with Bulma. Because, okay, Mecha J says this is when Vegeta's old tendencies return. Not exactly, but you're on the right track. You're on the right track. Kakarot, Son Goku's connection to Vegeta, is what starts the road to his old tendencies coming back. Vegeta sees Goku as unfinished business. Vegeta sees Goku as like that puzzle he could never solve. Almost, this is going to sound gay, but the one that got away. And Vegeta, it was willing to take any opportunity he could to fight Kakarot again. So
well, the thing is
not bad yet, but this is the beginning of it. Just remember.
Well, we talked about this like way back whenever Goku and Vegeta first met each other. The reason that Vegeta is so obsessed with Goku is because Vegeta defeating Goku means that not only is Vegeta superior to Goku, his ideology is superior to Goku. The thing that drives Vegeta nuts about Goku is that he stands against Vegeta's personal philosophies. He basically challenges Vegeta's preconceived notions of like what it
Everything,
takes.
his whole
Yeah.
life.
Yeah, he challenges like what Vegeta at his core believes what it takes to be the strongest, to be the best. And until he can defeat Goku, he hasn't proven that his ideology is the superior one. So that's really what's driving him here.
If you want more details on this, please watch Majin Vegeta, a closer look on the channel. I think the video did like 500,000 views. It should have done 1 million because nobody else is talking about that. Because I think people get the Majin Vegeta stuff confused. I think they think that Vegeta actually did like completely surrender himself to his evil. And it's not that he surrendered himself to his evil. He surrendered himself to a different word that starts with an E. Ego.
Yeah.
That's really what happened. Vegeta allowed Babidi to control him for egotistical purposes. But we'll talk more about that when we get to that part. I don't want to talk about it yet. Vegeta, you should dress up like me in order to hide your identity. Are you insane? I don't care. Yeah, so earlier in the chat, they were saying Goku doesn't care. Neither does Vegeta. I love the superhero pose of Gohan there. Notice that Gohan straight up, like with the cape, like Superman. So straight now we have the reintroduction of Krillin, who has grown his hair out. And we have the update that he's living with Roshi at Kame House. And he's living with 18. So now as Dragon Ball readers, we now get to find out what Krillin's been up to. And we find out he's been up in that. So he wound up actually getting 18 and having a daughter with her. And that's cool because this part of the story really like is us catching up. Like I said, reintroduction. So then we have Piccolo. He's been up there meditating because he lives a very boring life. And Dende's not a warrior, Namekian. Piccolo is. Piccolo, now I want to make this clear because a lot of folks think that Piccolo in the Buu Saga, he didn't do anything in the Buu Saga. Like he didn't get into any big fights. That's true. But Piccolo did still train. So the Piccolo in the Buu arc is still stronger than Cell Saga Piccolo, but he's just not anywhere near the levels of like Vegeta, Goku, Gohan. Like he would really trail behind until Orange Piccolo.
Yeah.
Like he was behind all of them until Orange Piccolo.
Yeah, that's true.
So moving on. He's over here, saying he hasn't trained. That's our first clue right there. I haven't trained for a while. And we're going to find out more about that soon. We have Gohan at home. This is all just fun, like Gohan stuff. Actually, Chi-Chi wants him to win all the money.
Yes, this is the first time she's ever been excited for Gohan to fight, which is hilarious.
She says, the money that father left us is almost gone. I made a video about this. It doesn't make sense to me that the Sun family needs money if one of Goku's first friends ever is Bulma, and that's one of his best friends. If one of your best friends is the richest family on earth, you shouldn't need any money. They'll take care of you.
Yeah.
Like, I understand.
Considering how rich Caps Corporation actually is. They're like,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Listen, I understand how people just want to like earn their own money. But I'm telling you now, if I had Elon Musk money, let's pretend that I had Elon Musk money. I would buy all of my friends nice houses and nice cars at the very least.
Yeah.
So you have to think of it like Dr. Brief and Bulma are the richest family on earth. You would think that they would buy Goku and Chi-Chi whatever they want, because how many times did Goku save their lives?
Yeah.
You know?
True that.
I love Gohan in this outfit.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I
It's
love
like
it.
a perfect combination of Piccolo and Goku's outfit almost. It's really
Purple
cool.
and orange, yeah. Next chapter, special training. So this is Gohan and Goten. I love, by the way, I want to make it clear, I love these chapters because we don't get chapters like this ever again in Dragon Ball past this point. This is like, it is slice of life to a degree. It's training, but it's fucking cool because we're seeing Gohan and Goten bonding. We're seeing new discoveries. This is the part where basically Goten has to throw pebbles at Gohan. Gohan underestimates his power. He realizes that Goten can fucking throw it fast. I mean, look at Gohan's face,
He's
bro.
sweating, bro. Yeah.
He has no idea how strong Goten actually is. And that's good because Gohan needs it, right? And then he's like, "Can I change like you?" And he's like me? What are you talking about? That Super Saiyan thing. You're not ready for that yet, Goten. To become a Super Saiyan, you must train very hard. Also, you've got to learn how to manage your emotions. It's exactly like the Videl thing, bro.
Yeah.
It's exactly, bro. You know what? This story arc, look, don't get mad. Gohan fans, look, I'm a Gohan fan. Gohan is wrong an awful lot in this arc, bro.
Yeah.
Like
Well, I mean, you can't blame him. I mean, he's kind of speaking from the perspective of the fan base because I'm sure the fan base probably thought the same thing prior to this panel. You know what I mean?
I agree.
But
I
like,
agree with you. I
I
agree with
do
you.
like that he talks about how you need to be able to control your emotions and all that stuff because Goten, he's born very strong, so he doesn't really need.
cells.
Yeah, he doesn't really need to train in that sense, and because he has the nature of an Earthling, he naturally has a lot of emotional control. So I like how Toriyama kind of made Goten into like somebody who was naturally born with the character traits needed to control Super Saiyan. I've always thought that was cool. You know,
Well,
people have an issue with it, but I've always thought it was cool.
Well, you know, you hit the nail on the head as far as like, hold on a minute. Heesh is like, I'm about to finish Dragon Quest. I'm like, bro, I'm literally streaming with Jordan right now. Like, are you like, what do I do on Tuesdays? So, okay. So, as I was saying, one of the things that if I was reading this for the first time and didn't know that Goten was able to do this, I would have probably thought in my head, Goten will probably learn Super Saiyan at some point in the arc and it'll be a big moment. I think that's what most Dragon Ball fans would logically think.
Yeah.
You know, but bam, Toriyama's just like,
No, he's born. He's just born that way. Yeah.
Yeah, he's really, really, really strong. And he says, I don't know. I don't believe this. He took days. It took days of training for dad and me to become Super Saiyans. And then Goten, do you want to spar with me? I know you know what I'm talking about, right? Yes, mom taught me some moves while you were studying. I think some people think this is a common misconception I hear from people that Goten first went Super Saiyan in front of Chi-Chi. That's not what happened. But the anime confuses people. In the anime, there was a scene where Chi-Chi is sparring with Goten and he goes Super Saiyan. That wasn't the first time he went Super Saiyan. That was the first time Chi-Chi saw him go Super Saiyan. We don't know when Goten went Super Saiyan. For all intents and purposes, because he's 7 years old here, he may have learned this shit when he was like 5. Like,
Yeah.
we don't know. Toriyama never commented on exactly when he figured this out.
Yeah, I do think it's funny though that Chi-Chi tells him that he can't transform because it makes him look like a delinquent. I do think that's funny.
Well, we talked about in Japan, if you dye your hair blonde in the conservative Japan, you're seen as like a delinquent or a hoodlum. Also, I know some people see this as lazy writing, and I totally understand that. I really do get it. The thing is, Toriyama's completely self-aware, because if Toriyama himself didn't know what he was doing, he would have never, ever, ever come up with that Super Saiyan bargain sale line. That's Toriyama basically saying, look, I know it's lazy writing. I don't care. Toriyama has oftentimes done stupid shit on purpose and made fun of himself. For example, Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan. When that form was first revealed, you know how many people in the fandom were like, that's a stupid name. Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan.
He does it to be funny. Yeah, he wants to be funny.
Well, no, but I'm going to explain how it actually like came about. Toriyama knew that was a stupid name. And that's why later, like, there's a scene in Dragon Ball Resurrection F where Goku's like, you take the power of a Super Saiyan and then you activate Super Saiyan God. He goes into all that explanation. And then Frieza's like, okay, whatever. Like, it's basically like, and then of course it was changed to Super Saiyan Blue because
in the manga, Goku literally is like struggling to say Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan, and like makes fun of it. Yeah.
So we have made fun of Trenton for the past couple weeks, but he is 300% right here. It's all a gag, and it is. Toriyama goes from Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan to Super Saiyan Blue. Isn't that a little too simple? No, just Super Saiyan Blue. And he did it again in Daima when Vegeta's like, no, I'm calling it Ultra Vegeta 1. Like, he's
Orange Piccolo.
Yeah, he makes fun of himself and people's reactions to his stupid names.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be stupid. That's the point. We're supposed to have a good time with it. We're not supposed to analyze it and be curmudgeons about it. I mean, we're analyzing it, but we're not being curmudgeons. So this part is cool. Gohan and Goten training, going at it. First time we're seeing a real fight in the Buu arc, like a training fight where people are moving fast. However, Goten, even though he knows how to do Super Saiyan, does not know how to fly. And that's because of the fact that you have to learn Bukujutsu. Master Roshi is very strong. He doesn't fly because you have to learn Bukujutsu. Meanwhile, we have the arrival of somebody else who wants to learn how to fly. Get back in your base forms. You have incredible potential. You know, train. You can enter the Tenkaiichi Budokai. Goten's like, okay. He's like, he says, Trunks is stronger than me. I know because we fight for fun often. Really? Do you do that? Geez, if I don't start training seriously, these kids will become stronger than me. So the gag here is that Goten and Trunks are more like their fathers than Gohan is.
Yeah.
That's the gag. That's the gag. That even
and they are competitive, but I do like that Goten says that he fights for fun. I would actually wager that Trunks is the more competitive of the two in that sense.
But it's also but it's also like how Gohan is afraid that the kids might surpass him because it's almost like Gohan was always seen as the child prodigy.
He's the outlier, yeah.
And now Goten is doing prodigal stuff that not even Gohan could do. So he's starting to sweat like, wait a minute. Because I do get questions from people who ask, like, could Goten unlock Beast? Or could Goten become as strong as Gohan? And there's no telling because the stories...
Well, Toriyama did say that Goten has all of the same potential as Gohan. He did say that in an interview.
I know. No, he did.
But I think that the way that they draw out their potential is fundamentally different. That's part of the reason that the Super Saiyan scene doesn't bother me a bit, because I just see it as the equivalent to whenever Gohan raged out against Raditz. You know what I mean? It's like Goten is just his own version of a freak, you know?
Chi-Chi says, it's okay for you to teach her how to fly, but don't you dare try to seduce my son to reward him. Me seduce him? Poor Gohan, bro. Poor Gohan. You gotta feel for the guys.
Gotta make it awkward, doesn't she?
Yeah. So now we're in the episodes or the chapters where Gohan teaches Videl how to fly. Now the reason as to why I like this, see right here, I'll teach you to the art of Bukujutsu, which means how to fly, which is funny because in the Japanese, it's Bukujutsu is just a word, flying technique. That's it.
Sky dancing, yeah. The sky dancing.
Well, that's the literal term.
Yeah.
You're going like super literal, like old school Japanese. I'm going more of like the shonen route. So now what I like about this though is that I actually like these scenes because Toriyama is actually breaking down ki. He has done this before with Roshi, but it's cool because Videl sort of acts like the audience. We're just the humans that don't know any better. She doesn't know anything about ki, so Gohan's going to teach her ki.
Yeah, I like how Videl calls it magic, kind of like how they call it magic all the time in Daima.
In the demon realm. Yeah. And see right here, you have to achieve a level where you can freely control your ki. And she becomes a strong warrior because of it. And guess what? Mr. Satan doesn't even know how to use ki on those levels.
Well, what's really cool about it, in my opinion, is it's a reflection of Grandpa Gohan as well. Because like Grandpa Gohan is the one that taught Goku how to tap into ki. So it's like, you know, it's really cool.
Now, this is very interesting. So it's Goku training, and now we're seeing for the first time in the manga another Kai-Osama. This is South Kai. Now, here's the thing about South Kaio. He actually appeared in the anime first. What happened was when they were when Toei was preparing for the Otherworld tournament, they asked Toriyama to draw the afterlife and to draw like how the universe works. So that image of the universe that you see, that's like a sphere with like heaven up here and the demon realm down here. Toriyama drew all that. And then they were like, tell us about the cosmology, 4 quadrants. All of that was thought up during this time. And then they asked them to draw the 3 other Kais. So Toriyama had designs for the other 3 Kais for the anime first. And he chose to put them into the manga. This is why, again, like the canon stuff is complicated. Because here's why it's complicated. Because if this is the design of South Kai, then that means that the designs that were in the Otherworld tournament, which is not canon to the manga, the Kais are canon though.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. When we break it down like really granularly, canon is complicated because of things like this. I guarantee you most fans don't even know that Toriyama drew these for the anime first and then was like, fuck it, I'll use them, you know?
It's kind of like how Herms was talking about how Daima was being used to expand on the Dragon Ball universe.
Big time.
Even if you're one of these people who wants to claim that like there's no way that Super and Daima's lore can connect, that's not how it works. When Toriyama establishes a character, like let's say Rimus, for example, in his lore, that character becomes a part of the lore forever. It doesn't matter. Like even if even if you want to entertain the idea that the events of Daima don't line up or whatever, Rimus will still exist in Super because anytime Toriyama creates a character, that character it just becomes a staple of the series in itself. So yeah, it is more complicated than people want to imagine.
But here's what's interesting. We don't even see the other two Kais in the manga at all. The only way to see them is in the anime. And that's also true. The Dai Kaio, the Grand Kai with the beard, that's another character Toriyama designed that we know is canon to the manga, but never appears in the manga.
Yeah.
That's why again, it goes back to you can't.
Yeah, there's some stuff that Toriyama added to the anime that was only ever shown in the anime. That's just
but that exists in the manga.
Yeah, exactly.
It's weird. It's very granular. Like Sasuke saying, "Where's Paikon?" Paikuhan is an anime only character. Now
because sometimes they need more content. Imagine, okay, you are the Dragon Ball guy, and you're having your series animated. Of course, the staff is going to come to you when they need extra, material. They're gonna be like, they're gonna be like, hey, we want to do this thing. Would you like to design some of the characters, or should we do it, or whatever? That's just it's a natural. Like you can naturally assume that that's the process because it makes sense.
Well, but here's the thing. Here's why Sasuke's question. What Sasuke's question is more complicated than he realizes because we know that Paikon is the South Kai's number one student, but he only appears in the anime. So if somebody were to say, does he exist in the manga? The reality is he might, meaning that even though the events of the Otherworld tournament only took place in the anime, we don't ever see Paikuhan in the manga, but there's a possibility that he was there, just not like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's why canon gets complicated, bro, because there is a possibility that same thing with some people say, like, even with Broly, like Broly was rewritten for Super, but it was retconned to where Broly was always on that planet all these years, and we had no idea. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, so if someday Toyotaro decides to canonize Paikon,
he can do it. Yeah,
he can do it. That's what I'm saying. It's complicated, bro. But anyways, I want to get that out because I was waiting to talk about this when we got here because this has always been weird to me.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah.
Like it's always been a convoluted mess. But again, Toriyama took a design that was meant for the anime and put it in. So, I mean, look what happened with Bardock. Same thing. So this is Goku training. Of course, for the tournament. This is basically like South Kai just freaking out at how strong he is. And Goku can still do Super Saiyan and keep going. Because I guess South Kai thought he was getting tired. Tournament is in 28 Earth days. I don't think he'll participate in that sort of tournament. For him, it's too low level and worldly. Yeah, they're hinting already that Goku is stronger than everybody. They're already hinting at this. Toriyama did not come up with Super Saiyan 3 yet. We know that for a fact. But Toriyama in the back of his head.
He's talking about the Kai's student, because what's happening here is the Kai is basically saying my student would like wreck your dude. And
Right, but
then,
it's not Pycon though. Like
no, it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
Pycon 2, they came up for that, but like
Yeah, but
basically
that
he's like,
before
oh,
this.
he's so great. Why don't you come join the Earth martial arts tournament? And he's like, nah, bro. After seeing Goku, I'm good. Like, nah, I'm good.
Right,
You know?
right. And that, but again, that's my point. They're already hinting that Goku is coming to this tournament still super fucking strong.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, I don't think at this point Toriyama had Super Saiyan 3 finalized just yet. A little bit more time has to go by. Let me get this super chat from Sasuke. He says, sup, my goat. Why didn't Goten get the spotlight like my boy Gohan did in the Cell Saga? Goten so underrated. Well, Goten wasn't around in the Cell Saga, but if you're talking about why didn't he get the spotlight in the Buu Saga, well, him and Trunks as Gotenks was supposed to be the spotlight, but then Toriyama changed his mind. I mean, that's basically it. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Is Sandland the same universe as Dragon Ball? No. But enjoy that. Enjoy it.
Good.
Sandland's good. Sandland's real good. I might actually stream Forest Land on Twitch sometimes. I never got to finish it. Anyways, moving on. This is Goten showing off that he already knows how to fly. For Videl, it'll take a little bit more training. And then this is the part right here. Toriyama has admitted that he is not good at romance. He has admitted this himself. He has said, I am not good at romance. By the way, your hair, it may be best to cut it short. And then she blushes and says, you like girls with short hair? Huh? No, it's just that the short hair is better when you're going to fight. If your hair is longer, it'll get in your eyes and your enemy can grab it. So she's over here thinking that he's like
crushing on her, yeah.
Yeah, when actually she's crushing on him, bro. Is this the only time that Toriyama did something like this in Dragon Ball? Slump was different, but in Dragon Ball, I can't remember him doing something like this prior.
Well, the only other time that something like this happens, wherever the guy is oblivious to the girl's advances or whatever, is Goku and Chi-Chi, which this is obviously like a callback to that. But like that's the only time something, and it's a completely different context, of course. But it's like that's the only time something like this has similar to this has ever happened. I honestly do think that it's a continuation of that whole dynamic between Goku and Chi-Chi, where Gohan's just completely oblivious to the ways of women, and of course, they have a huge crush.
Yeah. I mean, usually it's the guy crushing first, like Senbei Norimaki throughout not all, but like half of Slump. But here it's the girl, and I actually like this because this is pretty realistic. You should cut your hair. Oh, do you like girls with short hair? Like, she's already into him, bro. Yeah. And why wouldn't you be? He's a smart guy. He's jacked. Like, nice guy.
Teaching
nice
her how to
family.
Fly.
Huh?
Teaching her how to fly.
Yeah, maybe she'll teach him a few things, bro.
Yeah, I guarantee you she did.
And then there she is with the short hair, bro. The next time. Now, I like pigtailed Videl a lot more. All right, chapter 429, the Budokai draws near. By the way, draws near is from Dragon Quest. Whenever an enemy approaches you in Dragon Quest 1, it'll say like a slime draws near. So now here we have the infamous Super Saiyan bargain sale scene. Vegeta training in gravity. Trunks is having some trouble. They're talking or whatever. Trunks goes Super Saiyan, starts jumping up and down. And this is where, but since when Incredible. He can turn into the legendary Super Saiyan that easily. Trunks, can Gohan's little brother turn Super Saiyan 2? Yep. Is there a sale on Super Saiyans going on or what? That's the bargain sale line. It just has different translations. Again, that's Toriyama picking on himself. And then he says, if you can hit me in the face, I think take the amusement park, which is what they did in Super Episode 2. And I like that. Like, that was a good follow-up to this arc. Because he got him. He got him, bro. He came in, whatever. Vegeta underestimated his own son, knocked him on his ass, right? Goten is a year younger than me, so I'm a little stronger, and he can't even fly yet. Trunks is a little stronger than Goten. What's going on here?
Yeah, he's freaking out. He's like, what the hell?
What is going on? So now Videl pretty much has mastered how to fly, and she decides to keep training with Gohan. There's other reasons as to why she wants to keep training with him. I think it's pretty easy to tell what's going on. Look at the faces that she's making. And look, I like this part right here where he's like, do you spar with your dad? Spar with the champion? Are you out of your mind? I can't even train with him. Thought so. Videl doesn't realize she's actually stronger than him. Way stronger than him.
A lot.
Way stronger. And even she says he's been too arrogant lately. Ever since mom passed away, here's the answer to what you were asking earlier. It's in the manga. He has been using his fame to meet women, which I can't stand anymore. Dad must learn humility. He's doing that thing where when a guy loses his wife, he ends up becoming an eligible bachelor and basically fucks anything that moves. That's what she's saying in a PG way.
He said this, yeah. And then Gohan's like, now I can whoop his ass and she won't say anything about it. That's funny.
I love that line.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like Gohan's like, you want to take credit for my work, motherfucker?
Yeah.
You want to take credit for my father?
Secret agenda. Yeah, Gohan's secret agenda. Yeah.
My father sacrificed his life. And
like, not only am I about to like marry your daughter, bro, I'm gonna whoop your ass in this tournament.
I'm gonna pop your daughter's cherry. I'm gonna make her into a housewife, and I'm gonna punch you. But you know what? At the end of the day, everybody won.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? And the one thing I love about the Majin Buu arc, brother, Mr. Satan actually does something. And if it wasn't for him, they wouldn't have won. And I like that. And it just shows that Toriyama, as a discovery writer, can still make things fit. So now she's like, your dad's coming? How? And then look at this. Oh, I get it. Your father must have abandoned you guys a long time ago, but he secretly sent you a message that he'll be coming to the Budokai behind your mother's back. This right here can be clipped out. See? Goku is a bad dad. What? It's hard having family problems. Let's forget about this. Training. Gohan doesn't even correct her. It must be true then, Jordan.
Well, that makes it that much funnier whenever she sees him with the halo later on, that he doesn't correct her. That's you know, it's like a really long punchline to a joke, you know.
And I love this. The day our father comes back, the day of the Budokai approaches. I love this full panel here of Goten and Gohan. I feel like Toriyama's back. Like he's back to drawing like action, like what he was doing before.
Yeah.
Chapter 430, Dragon Team gathers. That's right. It's still called the Dragon Team. So we see a montage of everybody training. I love it. Krillin, Videl. I love when she's breaking the fucking punching bags and shit. We see Trunks, and we see, of course, Goten and Mr. Satan laying out, not doing jack shit.
So Videl's mom is named Miguel.
Correct.
Yeah, and she's named after the Archangel Michael.
Right.
Yeah.
From the Bible.
Yeah.
And she died a long time ago. And when that happened, Mr. Satan became this, well, the
Man.
fame. It wasn't
Yeah.
just that he was a bachelor. He was also super famous, and that allowed him access to more women. I mean, it's just, that's how it is, bro.
Right.
I'm sorry, but that's, guys, you know how they say, like, oh, if you have more money, it doesn't mean you're going to get more women? That's a lie. That is a lie. If you are rich and famous, you're going to have access to more women. That is a fact. I'm not saying you have to be rich and famous to get a 9 or a 10, because you don't. You can be just a cool guy and pull one, but there's no question that rich and famous people have access to more stuff.
Yeah. True.
So it's just the way it is, man. And more women. Goku's there meditating, something he would never do. He never do that. Here's the big, everyone's showing up in one big ship. Even the Ox King is there. They've all reunited. I love this too, because like the calm before the storm. Like, you know, they're just all going there to the island. They all show up there. Mr. Satan just arrived. Dun, 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 dun. That's the Mr. Satan music, by the way, from Dragon Ball Z. You remember that song, right?
Of course, yeah.
Dun, 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 you know. And then, of course, he's saying he's going to win. You know, your daughter will participate. Will that new hairstyle help you win? None of your business. She's had it, bro. She's had it. There's Yamcha dressed all slick. And then boom, boom. Hello, everyone. What a moment, bro.
Yeah, man. That's
after 7 years, Goku is back for one day. Baba's there. Everyone gets emotional. There's tears. Krillin cries. Gohan, Chi-Chi, of course. Piccolo doesn't cry, but we don't even know if Namekians can cry. Do we ever see a Namekian cry?
I don't think so. Well, we see Piccolo cry whenever he's like on the verge of death in the Saiyan saga. So,
oh, that's true.
Yeah,
you're right.
Whenever he's talking to Goku and talking about how Goku and Gohan had that huge influence on him. But but I think Piccolo's a little bit different than your average Namekian, to be fair.
No, that's fair. Yeah. Roshi's emotional. Everyone is. Vegeta and Trunks are just looking. Oolong, all of his longtime friends are all. And then this is the part right here. That's my son. He looks exactly like me. And this is Goku meeting Goten for the first time. And that's a great moment right there. In the anime, they added a part where Goku like hugs him and holds him.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the best things that the anime added right there. Because that's real shit.
Just exaggerate it, you know. Yeah, they definitely exaggerate it. For sure.
Yeah, but it's an improvement, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
So this is the first year in the tournament history they're adding a youth division, a junior division. Before, if you remember, in the old tournaments, kids and adults could all enter. That's why Goku was a kid fighting grown-ass adults. But now they've split them off by age. Justin says, another thing, Dende cried twice. Each time was because the Grand Elder's death.
Yeah.
That's right. You're right about that.
I mean, Dende is like a little kid, so that doesn't shock me at all.
No, but he's right. I had totally forgot that, yes, Namekians do cry. I just totally forgot. Like, it's just not something I think about.
Right.
That's real shit, brother. That is real shit. That's real. I feel you on that one. Let me tell you. I feel you on that one. So now everyone enters. Chapter 431, the preliminaries begin. Now they do something different. In the past, you had to defeat an opponent to qualify. And basically they had a large number of fighters and they would narrow it down to like 8. Now they're doing it a little bit different where you have to basically hit this machine, and whoever has the highest like physical power is.
Yeah, and these machines actually exist, by the way.
Yes, they do. You
Yeah.
know who has the record, right?
No, but I know
Francis
that they're real.
Ngannou. He
Oh,
broke the
wow.
record. Former UFC heavyweight champion. He's in boxing now. That's why when he knocked out Alistair Overeem, his head went up like a Pez dispenser. It went, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to see nasty knockouts, bro, look up Francis Ngannou. He's a scary, powerful guy.
I love how Piccolo blows up the camera. That's hilarious.
Yes. Yeah, he does not want that shit to be seen by anyone. So now we have the old tournament announcer. We haven't seen him in literally years at the time of this publication. He's happy because at least he knows the fights will be good, which tells me that the 24th tournament, the one that Satan won, was probably really boring.
Yeah, probably.
Compared to the other 3, yeah. To be honest, Tenkaiichi Budokai was no fun without you. Low intensity fights, you know. Yeah, it's like that tournament sucked. Please don't destroy the ring this time. Piccolo said, I'll try not to.
That would be so wild to see Piccolo and Goku fight like all those years ago, and then for them to come back together like in peace to like fight each other in the tournament. That would be such a wild experience, like from the perspective of the announcer, you know.
Yeah, they're all on the same side now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like Piccolo and Goku are, because the last time the announcer saw Goku and Piccolo, they damn near killed each other. And now they're all on the same team. And I like how he finds out that Goku's dead. He's like, okay, not a problem. It's fine. You can still enter.
So I love how the announcer's like, nothing surprises me with you anymore, so whatever. I don't even care. Like, that's hilarious.
He's been around the block, bro.
Yeah.
He's been around the block. So now Mr. Satan is the first one to punch the punching machine. Came out to 137, which is actually pretty impressive.
Yeah, for a human who doesn't have like key, like for real, yeah.
Correct. Mr. Satan is, compared to a regular human, is pretty strong physically. That is true. It's just compared to these guys, he ain't shit. Yamcha, the meme of the community, would smoke Mr. Satan easily. So 18 punches it. She just flicks it. Remember, Satan had 137. She got 774 points. So, of course, they assume the machine's broken because it's just like Dodoria with the scouter. Vegeta's power level was what? This thing must be broken. And then Krillin punches it. It's 193. Fucking Goku got 188 because he was gentle with it. Piccolo got 210. And then, of course, this is the most Vegeta thing Vegeta's done in this arc up until this point. I laughed so hard when I saw this.
It was awesome animated. Yeah, it was really cool. He's like, I don't give a shit, bro. I'm not holding back at all.
He's like, yeah, I think is that enough to qualify? It's like the scene in Ninja Turtles where he's like, you have to remove all the bells.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Is this enough? Same shit. I love this art right here. This art was redrawn by Nakatsuru for the cover of Dragon Ball Z Super Butoden 3. Let me see if I can pull it up. Hold on. Because I love this. I fucking love this art. Okay, I found it. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Hold on.
Okay.
Oh, stupid. Yes, allow ads. Jesus. Okay. So this is the cover art
Yeah.
to Dragon Ball Z Super Butoden 3.
I could definitely tell
And
it right off the bat.
yeah, so you've got the Goten and Trunks. This is the Toriyama version there. And then you've got this is either Nakatsuru or that one mystery artist with the big
I'm pretty sure it's
ears.
Sakatsu. It looks just like his work.
Yeah, but I love this art. I mean, look at how badass. Have Goten and Trunks ever looked more badass than this?
Yeah, they
Like,
look
you know what
cool. They look really cool.
And then Majin Buu has this absolutely sinister look on his face. That's the look he made when Darbara tried to fuck with him. That's the look he made.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we'll get there. I think probably next volume we'll get there, or the one after. I think it's the one after. But yeah, let's get back to it. So none of this is really super important, I don't think. It's just about like how strong they are and this and that. It's not really anything.
Yeah, also like the competitive, the fact that like the competitive nature of Goku and Vegeta is like bleeding out not only into their kids in the sense that they're also competitive, but also they're like both proud of their kids, so they want to both see their kids win, which I think is awesome. It's like a really cool little thing Toriyama did there.
I love it because it's like the Cell Saga all over again.
Yeah,
you know. So the junior division is going to go up first. But first, Mr. Satan is introduced. He runs up, but he slips and busts his ass and then says, I was just joking to entertain the people. So good save by Mr. Satan, the Hulk Hogan of the series. And then, of course, to build up a little bit, a tiny bit of animosity, we have the introduction of these two kids. And I
think that this is actually the most entertaining that Goten and Trunks have ever been. And I mean, even as adults, like
I kind of see where you're coming from.
Like the dynamic between the two, the fact that they're so competitive the way they are, the fact that they're little kids and they have that childlike mentality. To me, I think that all that is like very, very entertaining. Like it's to me, this kind of is what separates this Trunks from the other Trunks as well, because you know it defines his character as something completely different. But like I honestly think that like Goten and Trunks have never been as entertaining as they have like during this small section of the Buu saga. Like this is like the peak of their character in my opinion.
I feel like Goten versus Trunks is a really entertaining fight, and I've always liked that fight a lot. But
especially
I don't
in anime. Like if you're like a little kid who's watching Dragon Ball and like pretending to be able to go Super Saiyan and stuff like that, Trunks and Goten are like the perfect characters to cater to that crowd. You know, that subset of the Dragon Ball fandom who are like little kids at the time who like are obsessed with Dragon Ball. Like they're a perfect draw for that type of fan. Those little kids who want to be Dragon Ball characters, you know.
Yeah, and me, like, I don't see enough people in the fandom talking about Goten versus Trunks. It was Dragon Ball Z episode 211 and 212, and it's a great time. Justin says, too bad Yamcha got smoked by a fucking Cabbage Patch Kid in the Saiyan saga. Poor Yamcha. He sits this arc out entirely, pretty much. So they're building up this little bully to be like a rival. This is all pretty simple storytelling. It's been done a million times. Toriyama's done it a million times. The arrogant bully. Vegeta's been in this role before. Punking out Trunks without having a clue about how strong he is. Johnny Lawrence type of shit. In Karate Kid, not Cobra Kai. And remember, the winner of the junior tournament gets to face off against Mr. Satan. That's the whole like draw of it.
Yeah.
The ring is larger too. So we now know that the ring is bigger. And
he said the Budokai became too fancy. That's hilarious.
Yeah, because they have more bleachers now. Like it's really
it's mainstream. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really kind of gone from being just like Enter the Dragon sized martial arts tournament to it being more like a UFC where you've got like a crowd. And then pick like a more like a circus now. I mean, yeah. And then here we have the fat mom who is gloating.
This stuff always was super entertaining to me in animated form. It's still entertaining here, but I remember rewatching these particular episodes multiple times because I just thought they were very entertaining.
Yeah, because Bulma and the fat bitch are like soccer moms cheering on like it's very much like Cobra Kai, bro. Cheering on their kids. And then Trunks, first the kid's like, come on, kid, hit me if you can. You are annoying. I am going to kick your butt for that. And then he sweeps him and kicks him up and knocks him. He should be dead right there, bro.
Yeah, so this is where Trunks and Goten start to reveal a little bit more of their dark nature. I've noticed that, like, when you get to this section of the story, you start seeing in a very similar way to how, like, Goku is naive, and as a result, he causes problems and does things that are, like, crazy, that are, like, not good. You start seeing that from Goten and Trunks here. They start doing very similar things where they're doing childish things. But the thing is that they have superpowers, so that makes it dangerous,
Yeah, and you also see like,
they have a dark nature. Yeah,
you see the reflection of their parents in them too a little bit.
Well, the entire idea in martial arts is that everyone has a part of themselves that is dark and evil, and that the purpose of martial arts is to take that part of ourselves and use it for productive purposes and control it. So a little bit of like the arrogance and the darker nature of Goten and Trunks starts to come out here, and you can see it. Yeah.
Oh, wrong window. I was gonna highlight a super chat,
but they're
here.
Still pure, despite the fact that they do like they're not like malicious. They're like it's like Boo or anybody else who's like very childlike, but they do very dangerous, destructive things. You can kind of see that same thing in Goten and Trunks. So
he said, "What is Amy Schumer doing sitting there, bro? That's fucked up, Amy. You just buried Amy Schumer 6 feet under, dude. You know what? I think yesterday was the first day of the Diddy trial. I'm kind of surprised that he hasn't made the Cell trial or whatever. I'm surprised that Justin hasn't said anything about it yet. But that's okay. No worries. So Trunks even says maybe I went too far with that. And they're basically saying it won't be any good till Goten and Trunks fight. And
that's so true. Yeah.
And now Trunks is like, now you know what, we should have fought the adults. Trunks versus Son Goten. Now we have kind of a montage. I love this montage.
Because it's little kids fighting and it's like not entertaining at all. Like it's just absolute bullshit.
The one kid is like crying nonstop and like there's nothing. Then we have the brother of the other kid. Ikose, don't get careless like your brother did. Keep your guard up. That little brat's my son's opponent. How terrible. I knew that kid looked like the other ugly mug. They must be brothers. There won't be any miracles like last time. My son is going to destroy that brat. I love it, bro. I love that they're doing the shit talking. Unlike Trunks, Goten bows. Do you want to talk about the bowing?
Yeah. So the bowing is something that Grandpa Gohan reinforced in Goku to remember to do before each and individual fight. He also told Gohan the same thing. So the bowing is just like a reflection of a family tradition in that sense.
No, that's not what I was going to say. I meant what the bowing actually represents in the real world.
Oh yeah, it's a sign of respect. Yeah. It's basically a way of telling your opponent, I'm going to follow the rules of martial arts. This will be an honorable fight. That's basically what he's saying.
In every martial arts tournament, like karate, taekwondo, judo, anything, it's always bow to me, bow to your opponent, hands up. Like you always start the fight bowing. because and not just that, in Japanese culture, bowing is completely like, and I do it. I'm not even Japanese, but I oftentimes in my private life will bow. Like if somebody does something nice to me, I'll bow. Or if I see somebody and we make eye contact, I'll bow. It's just something that, like, the Japanese really made it a big part of their culture. When you enter someone's home, you bow. When you
Yep.
ask somebody for a favor and they grant you the favor, you bow. When you are asked a question, when you ask a question and it gets answered, you bow.
Yep.
Bowing is like a thing for them. Justin says, dude, Sell Diddy Combs is dead. He's in hell. I'm not saying that word, bro. I'm not getting demonetized. Graping Frieza, Raditz, and all the other a-holes that Goku fought. Why would I make any more jokes about him? I guess that's true, bro. And you know what? I'm glad you said Raditz, bro, because Lord knows he needs some love. So
Yeah,
I'm
for
glad
real.
you said that. I'm glad you did. So this kid's trying to hit Trunks or Goten. Goten blocks it with one finger, which is a flex. Give me all you've got. And he's trying, and Goten's blocking everything with a finger and with his hands. One punch to the jaw. He wobble. I love this in the anime, the sound effects. He goes down, knockout. It's like he's dead. She's mad. And then Chi-Chi, this is great stuff. She's about to like choke Bulma and Chi-Chi, and then Chi-Chi just knocks her out. And I
Yeah.
like this because we haven't seen Chi-Chi like this since the previous tournament in the manga.
Yeah, it's an
when she
awesome
fought
homage to her introduction as a character, for
to
sure.
her reintroduction.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what's funny is while this is going on, poor Gohan and Videl are in line waiting to hit the punching machine, missing all the action, bro. So they're dominating, working their way up. Here's the brackets. Toriyama didn't even give names for half these kids because it doesn't matter. Satan is fucking smoking a cigar, drinking an alcoholic
Yeah,
beverage.
if all of the kids were like the other kids that have been shown to fight, I can understand why Mr. Satan wouldn't be worried at all. But he definitely underestimated the potential opponents that he could get from the
Well,
child.
he sees kids and he's like, they're kids,
Yeah,
not thinking that they're like the kids he saw 7 years ago.
yeah,
So finally, Gohan makes it back. And now look at this. We have both of them bowing. Both of them bow this time because there's respect. This is great. Just let you know I am not going to hold back. Okay, me either. Those two, they look pretty good for their size. And then I like how he sees Goten and he's like, I've seen his face before. Yeah, I love this fight.
yeah,
They
dude. This is
clash.
actually one of my favorite fights in Dragon Ball Z. Like,
It's really good.
I love it. Yeah,
And it's back to like, it reminds me of like Krillin and Goku in the 22nd tournament. It's got that vibe. So they're
yeah,
going back and forth, trading shots. They both flip backwards. They both launch themselves up, breaking a small piece of the ring. Now they're going at it. Trunks connects with a right hook. Goten connects with, I can't even tell if that's like a back fist. No, it's a kick.
yeah.
He kicks him. He moves. He goes for the elbow, misses the kick. This is a real fight. Now we've got a real fight. People are all shocked because they've never
The
seen eight
scene
fights
in the
before.
anime where they're hitting each other and they're slowly going up, like as they're like, and they're slowly going up, and everybody's like watching them like slowly float up, and everybody's like,
Yeah.
what the heck is going on? I
Yeah.
love that scene, dude.
It's great. It's a great showcase. I love it. I'm with you. It's good shit. Mr. Satan is now terrified because he knows that, well, starting to think a little bit about what's going on. And then, Goku's like, they're pretty good. Like, actually, I think that's the end. Yeah, that's the end. I thought there was one more page, but literally the cliffhanger for this volume is Trunks and Goten who's going to win. So
It's awesome.
the next volume will be oh boy, we're going to meet the Supreme Kai. We're going to find out what's really going on. The real crux of the story. There's a lot in the next volume, but the Majin Buu saga has begun. So, what do you think?
I had a blast, man. This is despite the fact that not a lot of people are crazy about this section of the Buu saga, I love it. So, I was looking forward to this. So
No, I mean, I actually think that I think the Buu saga up until the Majin Vegeta sacrifice is like perfect. Then you see the flaws after that. I'm not saying it's all bad, but up until Majin Vegeta, it's really, really good. And then we start to see like the quality kind of go up and down. Yeah.
Yeah, because you can tell that he's being more adventurous and more improvisational with the story at that point. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and at one point he's just off the wall trying to figure out what to do. But you know what? I can't blame him. Like, if you're a regular author, you can write a story and come up with the end and then work your way backwards. That's not what happened here. He had to keep changing his mind because it was like, well, how are they actually going to beat this Majin Buu? And so it just became a thing where it was just
the thing is he started to, you could tell that he as an author started to get excited as the saga progressed, and as a result he wanted to make sure that he gave everybody a satisfying conclusion, and it's just like that's not an easy task, so. But anyway, thank you guys all for coming. Don't forget to check out both of our channels, check out our content, check out our Twitter. I'm getting ready to be posting that comic here in the next few days. But yeah, I appreciate you guys so much for coming, and we'll see you guys in the next Mangalorian.
When you post this, send me a link and we'll add it to the next Mangalorian.
Awesome.
All right. Have a good one, y'all. Take care. See you real soon.